In a move that sent shockwaves through the global automotive industry, President Donald Trump made a bold and controversial decision. He announced the implementation of a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles, a move that many did not see coming. This aggressive trade policy, which took effect on January 1, 2025, marked a significant escalation in Trump's protectionist agenda. It was a clear message to the world that the U.S. was serious about protecting its industries. The announcement immediately drew sharp criticism from international leaders and industry experts, who were quick to voice their concerns. They warned of potential economic fallout and a global trade war, predicting that the tariffs could lead to higher prices for consumers and strained international relations. The tariffs, a cornerstone of Trump's America First policy, were aimed at revitalizing the American auto industry and bringing back manufacturing jobs. Trump believed that this move would strengthen the U.S. economy. The administration argued that foreign competition, particularly from China and Japan, had undermined domestic production and led to job losses. They claimed that these tariffs were necessary to protect American workers. By increasing the cost of imported vehicles, the tariffs were intended to incentivize consumers to buy American-made cars and level the playing field for U.S. automakers. The hope was that this would lead to a resurgence in the domestic auto industry, creating more jobs and boosting the economy. The decision to impose tariffs stemmed from a confluence of factors, both economic and political. The decline of American manufacturing, particularly in the Rust Belt, had been a persistent concern for decades. Trump tapped into this anxiety, promising to restore American industrial dominance and bring back lost jobs. The auto industry, once a symbol of American industrial might, had been hit particularly hard by globalization. The rise of foreign competitors, particularly from Japan and South Korea, had eroded the market share of American automakers. Trump argued that unfair trade practices, such as currency manipulation and government subsidies, had given foreign automakers an unfair advantage. The tariffs were seen as a way to counteract these perceived disadvantages and protect American jobs. The immediate impact of the tariffs was felt throughout the global automotive industry, sending shockwaves through every level of the market. Prices of imported vehicles in the United States rose sharply, making them less competitive with domestic models. This sudden price hike led to a noticeable decline in sales at dealerships, with many lots left emptier than usual. Several foreign automakers, facing shrinking profit margins, announced plans to scale back production at their U.S. plants or shift production to other countries. This move not only affected the companies but also had a significant impact on the workers and local economies dependent on these factories. The tariffs also created uncertainty and volatility in the global supply chain, causing delays and increased costs for shipping and logistics. Automakers rely on a complex network of suppliers around the world, and the tariffs disrupted this delicate ecosystem. Parts that were once easily accessible became scarce, leading to production delays and increased costs. Companies were forced to reevaluate their sourcing strategies and adjust to the new trade landscape. Many had to find alternative suppliers or even consider bringing production back in-house to mitigate risks. The full economic impact of the tariffs remained to be seen, but early indications suggested that they could lead to higher prices for consumers, job losses, and slower economic growth. Analysts warned that the long-term effects could be even more severe, potentially reshaping the global automotive industry for years to come. Global backlash, condemnation, and retaliatory threats. The international response to the tariffs was swift and largely negative. The European Union, China, Japan, and other major trading partners condemned the move as protectionist and harmful to the global economy. They argued that the tariffs violated international trade rules and would ultimately hurt American consumers and businesses. In retaliation, several countries threatened to impose their own tariffs on American goods, raising the specter of a global trade war. The European Union, for example, threatened tariffs on iconic American products like Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Kentucky bourbon. These retaliatory measures, if implemented, could have a significant impact on the American economy, particularly in sectors that rely heavily on exports. Tesla in the crosshairs, navigating the tariff storm. While the tariffs were intended to protect American automakers, they also had unintended consequences for some domestic companies, including Tesla. Tesla, the innovative electric car manufacturer, found itself caught in the crossfire of these trade policies. Although Tesla is an American company, it sources many of its essential components from abroad. The tariffs on imported parts significantly increased Tesla's production costs, forcing the company to raise prices on its vehicles. This put Tesla at a disadvantage to its competitors, both domestic and foreign, in the market. The situation highlighted the complexities of global supply chains and the unintended consequences of protectionist trade policies on businesses. North American neighbors. Feel the heat. Reactions from Canada and Mexico. Canada and Mexico, the United States' closest trading partners, were particularly critical of the tariffs. Both countries have significant automotive industries that are deeply integrated with the U.S. market. The tariffs threaten to disrupt this integration and harm their economies. Canada, which has a long-standing free trade agreement with the United States, threatened to retaliate with tariffs on American goods. Mexico, which was already locked in contentious trade negotiations with the Trump administration, expressed similar concerns. The tariffs strained relations between the United States and its North American neighbors, raising questions about the future of regional economic cooperation. The road ahead. Uncertainty and the future of global auto production. The automotive industry stands at a crossroads, facing unprecedented challenges and opportunities. The implementation of auto tariffs marked a significant turning point in global trade relations. These tariffs have disrupted established trade routes and forced companies to rethink their strategies. The move signaled a shift towards protectionism and away from the free trade policies that had defined the post-World War II era. This shift has created a ripple effect, impacting not just the automotive sector, but the entire global economy. The long-term consequences of this shift remain to be seen, but it is clear that the global automotive industry is facing a period of profound uncertainty. Companies are grappling with how to adapt to these new realities. The tariffs have the potential to reshape global supply chains, forcing manufacturers to seek alternative sources and rethink their logistics. They could also accelerate the trend of automation in manufacturing, as companies look to cut costs and increase efficiency in response to higher tariffs. This, in turn, may lead to higher prices for consumers, who will ultimately bear the brunt of these changes. The cost of new vehicles could rise significantly. They have also strained relations between the United States and its trading partners, leading to a series of retaliatory measures and counter-tariffs. This escalating tension raises the risk of a global trade war, which could have far-reaching consequences for economies around the world. The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the global automotive industry is in for a bumpy ride. Companies must navigate these challenges with agility and foresight to survive and thrive in this new landscape.